Yep, I see it. So, all right, everybody. Hey, thanks for coming out to FNL's OB session, opening bell session here on the S&P 500. Trading futures contains risk. Only risk capital should be used. We really want to keep our traders safe. So, our goal here is not just to, we don't call trades. We share and we collaborate on trades. Our goal here is to keep our members safe and have them practice proper risk management. And the goal of this session is not to predict where the price is going to go. The goal of this session is to formulate a plan. So when the price goes there, we have a plan. So if the price goes up, we have a plan. If the price goes down, we have a plan. And to determine, hey, what's the chop zone? Where should we not stay out of the market? In my opinion, how you make money trading is knowing when not to trade, so you don't give back all the money that you've made doing dumb decisions. So with that being said, Travis, how you doing this morning, bud?
Pretty well. How are you, Rob?
Good. Good night's sleep. Beautiful sun's coming up here in Northern California. So it's going to be a beautiful day today. So let's get right to it.
Do you want to go over the disclaimer a little bit or just?
No, I did. I just said trading futures contains risk. Only risk capital should be used.
There you go.
So
we got a 5-minute chart. Take a quick overview of it before we spread out to the bigger ones. In this case, here, let me take that off. I have this volume
profile.
Yeah.
Order flow. Yep.
Put it back on. I was just kind of looking at it, playing with it a little bit. It's a new toy, if you will. But let's see what's going on. So downtrend, our 200's in white, the 89 or 90 is red and green, 21 in yellow, and the 10 is in, I guess, pink, rose.
So we're below everything right now.
Everything's in order. We're below everything. We're pushing down off the 10 and 21. So it's a good time that if the market took off right now, I wouldn't be looking for a news event or anything. We've stair-stepped from the 89 or from the 200 and then used the 89 as resistance a couple times. And now we've used the 10 and 21. And oftentimes that's before market runs in a trend. So very bearish look, but we're at the bottom of the mark.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, we are definitely at the bottom of the mark. It's been coming down pretty much all night. Had a little bit of a pullback that came up to the 200 there when Europe opened, but then, boy, it just took off right back down. So it looks like really it was just a nice pullback on the move down from yesterday or last night after the reopen. So, yeah, let's go to the daily.
This looks like a turnaround wanting to push down. We talked the other day, if we pushed under this key level here, that we've got a lot of headroom. And if you looked at this as if it were a smaller chart, a 5-minute, if you will, we've had a good little downtrend. It had a deep retracement that was only really 382 of the whole move. So not even a deep retracement, but a good size retracement, if you will. Now we've turned around at an old key level that was support. Now resistance, as well as the top of the level, bodies to wicks. So big level to turn around at. It was the last level we had support at as a double tap. And you can see now we've turned around at it. We're pushing down through the bottom. So
yeah, and that was one of our biggest levels too that we've created. I think since we did that back in March. Yeah, we saw it hit back in May, and now again here in June, it's being hit again, and now it's been broken. So yeah. We've got some room to the bottom. So if we're going to put some targets, Travis, on the top, let's just say the price did decide to go back up, because we can't predict that the price is going to go down. We don't know that for a fact. But if the price was to go back up, what might be a target for the price to go to going up?
First one could be about 41.28 or so. It's where that double tap, where the wicks and bodies were. So I think both sides of that area is really relevant there, where it's 41.28 to 46 roughly. But you could look back and see, kind of like you said, that area was super respected as we went through for days at a time.
Yeah.
You know what continues to amaze me is you see those two green closes on the daily at the level that you were pointing out?
Over here?
No, on the right, at the level where it's turning around. You're talking about the turnaround.
Green closes.
Going down. The candles that were green, there was a little one and a big one just in the last week.
In the last week.
Oh, these two?
Those, yeah. To the tick, exactly the same close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. That's the same way these 2 days went down to exactly the same point. And that's a daily level right there at March 15th and March 8th. And you're saying the tops of these two bodies were at the exact same spot.
Yeah, the closes, I just checked them. Yeah, they looked like they were the same, and they are.
That's awesome. So probably not an accident. Somebody's got some orders. Market got comfortable somewhere for one reason or another. But long story short, we've turned around right at the 50. See, we do have our 50 EMA here, and the 50 you might not hear spoken about as much because I personally don't use it as much on a 5-minute, but it's very looked at by many traders on a daily standpoint, the 250. One of which, if the 50 crosses the 200 in the down direction, that is referred to as a death cross. It implies extra volatility or extra trend, if you will, strength in the down direction. And vice versa, if the 50 crosses the 200 in the up direction, that is a golden cross, implying a directional change or shift or momentum shift in the upward direction for trend.
Yeah. So I would say this candle would probably be the first, my first level I would look at would be the top of this red candle, which falls in line really with that level you just said. So if it were to continue above that, then we might look to 4150. Nice round number. You've got that would be the top of your top of that same level that we just talked about. The areas back in here where you have all this here, and then the top of your level would be right there. So, and that's right around 4150, 4144, 4150. So like Travis said, the first thing I would do is try to recover this candle that we're in, and then we'd have a level here and then a level at 4144. So the top of your, so that would be kind of the area I'd look at if the price were going to go up. Now, how about if the price is going to go down, which seems a little more plausible, doesn't it? Based on what the price action is doing.
Yes, it does. If I had a bias, I would definitely think down right now. But if it heads down, I had a level on a smaller chart here, but let's skip over that one. There was a couple closes there. There was a wick back. There was a couple support wicks and then resistance. So, I mean, really, first target could be around that 40.65 to 40.50 area, somewhere in that area. But
I would say we could also look at the bottom of that green candle there. That would make some sense. We have a wick back there as well.
Oh, that's right around that 40.50. You're closer to it there than that other level is. But really...
But then below 40.50, I would say let's just go for 4,000 at that point. Yep. So just trying to set some levels, folks, for if this price does decide to drop, we can have some levels to trade to. And, we encourage you guys to do this yourself too. Look at what makes sense. Try to look at what looks obvious. When you see wicks lining up, when you see bottoms of candles lining up, that's probably going to be a level, an area that you're going to want to look at. And I think, Travis would agree, and Randy both would agree that the more you do it and the more you draw on your charts, the more it starts making sense to you. At first, it's like, what?
What is it? How do I know it's going to do this?
Yeah.
You're not trying to say it's going to do it there. You're going to say, make a plan to where when it gets to that level, if it does this, I do that. If it does this, I do the other.
You bet.
There you go.
And we've got multiple blogs on the website as well. We have a very basic one that we did on drawing levels on your daily chart. And then Travis did one that is a 2-parter that really goes into a lot of detail. So I would recommend, if you haven't read those blogs, and especially Travis has studied that blog, you're gonna have to read it 2 or 3 times. Don't think that you're gonna sit there and spend 4 minutes and read it and you're gonna totally understand everything. Go through it 3 or 4 times. Take it piece by piece, and it will help. It will help. So, how many pages was that when you when you did it? It was like 18
I don't know,
pages or
like
something.
19.
It
Yeah,
was
I
like
think it was
19 pages.
19. And we were like, yeah, we'll split it into two, but it's really meant to be one article. So if
It
you end
is.
up having both of them open and just end up reading through, then it'll make kind of sense that way.
Yeah. So, well, right on. All right, let's go to the. Does anybody have any questions or any other comments on the daily? If not, then let's head on over to the 4-hour, 240-minute. All right. So looks to me like we're kind of going sideways and we're getting ready to drop below a pretty big level. And now we're starting to see these levels come into play, excuse me, a little bit more. Had a nice move up May 25th through the 27th, started chopping sideways. Now we're at that critical level. And here it is. You can see Travis has it marked on his screen. You get through that. Now here are those levels that we talked about, right?
Big old W, and they were in the wing.
Yep. There's 4050 we talked about. There's 4,000 we talked about on the daily. So on the way down, there's our levels on the way down, just like we talked about on the daily. So this is kind of the beauty of doing this. And what I recommend is maybe write these numbers down when you have your daily. If you're not going to transfer them like Travis has done from your daily to your other charts, go ahead and just write the numbers down and then put lines in there, however you like to do it. Put little, wicks, bodies to wicks, however you like to do it. So now you have these levels on the way down. Now let's talk about, would you agree with that, Travis, in terms of our levels, how they line up?
Yeah, I think they show a little more relevant on the 240 than they do on the daily, especially like this one under us right here. I just extended it, but this little box right here didn't really look like much, because when you go to the daily, it just looks like maybe there was a wick there, but when you start to zoom in on it, you start to realize how much price action really respected it, where it was a bottom and then it was a ceiling. It tried to break out and couldn't, and then same thing over here was resistance and then support a couple times. So those levels start to make a little more sense as you go through. I like to use larger charts to draw those levels at times. I think that's the underlying theme here, that from the 5-minute you can use larger charts to use different levels. I really like the bodies to wicks mentality, where for any given level, I can shrink my chart a little bit and you'll see from the daily, but bodies to wicks meaning like from a body of a candle all the way down to the bottom of the wick, both of which will be respected. So if I see the market coming down to hit that level, the idea is that the top might get hit, it might bounce off the top, or it might go into that level and somewhere between the top and the bottom bounce off, but the bottom is also very relevant. So anywhere in the middle could turn around, or it could go to the very bottom and break back out, are the two tendencies set off of the first box. But then we realized we had another one with bodies to wicks that we talked about this morning hit as a double tap exactly. So now I want to mark both of those levels to be relevant into the future, to say, this might be a support level into the future, as well as the next double tap. And when we go to the 240, remember this big box is from just above 4,200 to about, 490, 4,100 roughly. I think it's 4090 to 42 something, and then the middle one was in the center. It's the white box, and we can see on the 240 both of those are very, very respected. So we'll swap back over, and on the daily you see there are a few closes above and below, but you can't see it as clearly as when you get to the 240. It's the level Rob was just talking about. I can't shrink it. I don't have any days right now, but it's this top level. It's the wide one and the white one in the center, and you can see how the top one was support, was hit at the bottom, was hit at the top, and the bottom we're trying to break out of now. And then the middle one as well has been very, very relevant as we went through. We had a hold up there. We had it hit as support a couple times before it went up. When we broke through, what was support became resistance on the other side and then pushed down. So both levels have been very, very relevant. And then you see that bottom level that, again, I talked about, you couldn't see as clearly on the daily, but from there, bodies to wicks, I noticed it was also about where that support was. And as we went through, was resistance and then support a couple times. So that'll be the next place that if it does want to turn, we'll see if it turns there. But it's not I have to go long, because we saw from a daily point we're in a big down move with a retracement that has now turned around pretty strongly on the top side. We can see on the 4-hour we're making lower highs there, so really showing some downward pressure here and breaking through the bottom of a daily level. Not something I want to jump in the way of and assume it has to go back up. Anything you want to add? Any thoughts?
Nope. You did a fabulous job. Yep. Agree 100% there. So this is the key level here. I mean, obviously huge right here. Get below that. Now we've got this whole area to make up. There's our next level. So we could see a big 50, 60 point move down today if the price does decide to go down. Again, though, we need to keep an eye on it, though. If it does want to go up and we start to get into a trend, now we have another level of support, right? If the price does want to go up. So we might look for the price to come back up and then use this as support, right? For it to go back up.
Or so use it as a resistance to continue down, which makes it a key level in either way.
Go ahead. Exactly. So it could be a key level in either way, to where if it breaks through it and then it uses it as support to go back up. Again, we're not trying to predict the price is going to go up or down. We're just trying to have a plan. If it does go up, we have a support. If it decides to go down, then it probably could be resistance for it to continue down. Cool.
So you make a good point there, just really quick to second that. Let's say I wanted the market to turn around at this key level that was white, that's where I want it to turn around at. So if it retraces to that level and turns around under that level, well, now that level is acting just as it should, as resistance, and it's very, very likely to push down, right? But if we get a deeper retracement and we pull back above that level and then turn around, it gets a little scarier because what was going to be resistance might act as support. So that's what Rob is saying might end up as an upward push, but overall it's a little bit scarier from a downward position. So there's a couple different ways to go about that. You might make sure you have a really good entry point. Even if it were a 5 minute, the same concept applies. So you might make sure you have a good entry point, or you might even wait on confirmation to say, even though we broke above it, I want to close back below this level. And then I'm going to look for it to come up and retest and push down. Both are common attitudes, and I recommend testing with yourself over time. But again, breaking back above that key level, that level's likely to act as support, even though you thought it would be resistance on the bottom side. And it is that close where you could say if we close above it, it's likely to be support. If we close below it, it's likely to be resistance. If you know a really heavy key level, you can see the market in that way. All right, so we got about 10 minutes, hour?
Yep, hour.
Perfect. About the same look.
Yeah, looks very similar. Again, we're looking for those for this, like an ideal situation for me, I think would be for the price to come back, to this level of support here a little bit, and then give me a opportunity with a turnaround to go short. How many points is that, would you say? From 478, 15 points. So if this price were to come back about 10, 15 points, then turn around and then look for a spot to go short. So
I like it.
Get our turnaround up here somewhere. That would be an ideal situation. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, preparing for. But, whether that happens or not, we just don't know. We'll have to wait till opening bell and what the price wants to do.
I want to extend this opening range because it's right where we are. It was I guess it was last Friday's opening range.
Correct.
We'll see if it's relevant today. All the orange boxes are 30-second opening ranges, in case anyone is curious. They look a lot less relevant on an hour or a 4-hour chart, but they're on all my charts. So, anything else you want to add?
Nope.
Same retracement that came up, pulled back. We see that kind of triple tap, making lower highs on the top side, and we're trying to break through this key level on the bottom. Definitely tells me it's trying to push through the bottom. We'll see if it can, or if it, like Rob said, needs to pull back just a little bit, pick up some more orders. There's no guarantees in trading. I can't get too hung up on that, but market's definitely showing us a picture this morning. A lot of mornings it's like, I don't know, there's no trend. There's a trend this morning.
Oh, yeah.
So I have to acknowledge that. As much as I can't hang on to it as a bias, I kind of can sometimes. When we're in a downtrend, it's like if I have a bias, it might as well be short and clearing my stops.
Yeah, on here we can see that all the EMAs are lined up very nicely, right?
That's the 15, right?
Yep, on the 15. So everything's in order. I have the 200, the 89, the 50, the 21, and the 10, all lined up, all pointed down. So with that being said, how could I have a bias to go long?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. I mean, that would it seems like that would be a little silly to me. unless I had a specific reason why I would, the market's overstretched, whatever.
That's the
then,
one side of the coin.
Yeah.
If you had a super duper key level, you say the market stretched to that level, it's turning there. I'm going to take a chance with not only a short stop, but a risk management strategy that allows me to extend my trade if it does turn around there. And that's something I've realized. If people are trading against the trend, a lot of times they're trying to catch very, very big moves because the trend is overstretched. They can do it from a pinpointed spot of a key level. They can clear their stop. They know where they're wrong at, and they use a risk management strategy that might not be a definite 7-4, if you will, because they're not just going for 70. They're not just going for 7. They're going for 70 if the market continues. Sometimes, maybe not all the time. Each trader is different, but the idea there is that they can turn their break even into closer to 20% than 50. Bottom line, it's hard to trade against the trend consistently.
So know your risk management. And know that know what your break-even formula is, and that's typically not a trade you want to win 80% of the time, or even 50% of the time. It's a trade you want to win 15 to 20% of the time. And that's really about it.
As a trader, 15 to 20% is tough. I mean, it sounds cool on paper. Oh, I can win that easily, 15 to 20% of the time. When you're live, you're sitting in front of a market and you feel like you're losing every trade you take. It's hard not to change your decision making, to go do some other trading, to swap something to try and
feel
make
better
it
about
back.
your trade, to feel better about because listen, we're conditioned, right, to win 100%. We've been conditioned like that. And when you stop out 4 or 5 times in a row, and you will, if you're taking 15 to 20% win rate trades, you're going to stop out 4 or 5, 6 times in a row. And it's hard to keep going like that because we're conditioned to win, right? So
even if you know your break even, it's hard to continue doing it. On paper, it's easy to say, and that's similar. We have a little bit of time. I talk sometimes about a track record, and we really strongly suggest track your trades, learn what your percentages are, learn what trades you like, and over time. But there will be a gap. What I noticed in my own trading was a gap between having a profitable track record and actually believing in that track record because I had taken the same trade so many times. Because a lot of times early on, I'm changing things a little bit. I'm learning here, I'm learning there, and my track record tells me I should be 52%, we'll call it. But when I'm live, it's like I get real nervous. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And what it really told me over time was that even though my track record showed me a number, I didn't wholeheartedly trust that that was my percentage as a trader. And it took a larger sample size to continue making the same decisions and not changing them to actually believe in it. So that, like you're saying, Rob, when you stop out 2 or 3 times in a row, I was no longer trying to change the decision, but it was like, well, I've done this. I've done it a lot and still believe that I was a profitable trader, even if I'm stopping out 2 or 3 times in a row, which is hard to do. So
very hard.
Let's go trade.
Well, one sec. Yeah, on this real quick, where would I start looking long? So let's say the price does go up. Okay. Now the only way I'm going to be trading long personally is because of an OB, the FNL OB30 trade, which is, our opening range trade. And if we break out the top side, then I'll look to trade long. But where might we look to say, okay, when the price gets above here, now I feel the trend has changed. Now I feel that, okay, I can start looking to trade long.
Okay. So maybe not a trend change, but what you might see is if we broke above the 21 first of all, and this daily level. We already kind of talked about this at 40.90. We've had support here 2-3 times in a row, and this will be 4 and 5. If we pushed up from here, made a higher low, and turned around at that point, I might clear my stop. That would be my absolute first chance of going long, but I'd prefer to even get back above maybe even the 89 and 200, because then there's a stronger trend shift and I'm no longer looking at it like a deep retracement. So there has been strong support at this daily level. We are hitting a place where we've showed support before at an OB range. So if we made a perfect higher low, turned around after opening bell, and then showed some sort of a perfect push up, maybe, but I still much prefer something that wiggle waggles its way all the way through the EMAs, maybe even above this big center range that was the double tap, right?
Yeah.
And if we're above that, obviously a lot of us are thinking uptrend by then, because we'll have a few different higher highs and higher lows in theory.
Cool. So I just wanted to give people a little bit of, hey, what we might look for. For me personally, I got to get above 41.10 for even to think to go long. That's just me personally. We're in such a strong downtrend right now. And by that point, the price action will be above the EMA or close to. It'll be at the EMA, the 89. So for me personally, it'd be there. Then I could start trading level, right?
I would be above it because the 89 is still going to squeeze towards the price action until it hits it, right?
Yeah, because it's lagging.
So,
yeah. So
even though the price action's going up, the 89 is still squeezing towards it until they hit and they cross, and then it will actually be pointed up. So the 89 won't point up until it crosses it. Same with the 21. It's like it'll just squeeze together till the price action crosses, and then at the point it crosses is when it's up. That's where it makes it a really quick way of seeing if the market is above an EMA, the EMA is pointed up, and if the market is below, it's pointed down. A quick reference is not my 15 because I don't have the blue and green one, but on the 5 you'll see that. Want to go to the 5?
Yeah, let's go to the 5.
We're running out of time. Perfect.
Yep.
So quick reference, what I was going to say, between the red and green, if we're above it, it's green. If we're below it, it's red. And it's really that simple to see which direction the EMA is pointed because it's an average. If you're under the average, it's pointed down. If you're above the average, it's pointed up. All right, go ahead.
Nope. Doing great. Again, it shows it again here what I was talking about. For me personally, I'm not going to even look to go long until I get above there, because this could just be a nice retracement to the 200 for it to continue down. So I want to have a real confirmation of a trend change before I go long. So I really want to see that price. And that's a long ways. I get it. I mean, actually, it's not that far. It's about 30 points. So it's not too far. So what are we looking for right now?
A retracement. Was that not for me to answer?
That's all right.
I jumped the gun a little bit.
That's okay. Retrace it and then turn around. Some sort of turnaround. Diamond, double bar, something that gives us some confirmation that the price is turning around, that wants to go back down after it's done retracing. What we don't want to do is get stuck in price action that's moving up and guessing when the price is going to turn around. And because remember, we're going to deal with opening bell here in a minute, and the price is going to want to move. So
that's what I was just
45 seconds.
Say is today's a day that gets a lot of contrarian types excited because we're hitting a support level on the bottom and the potential's there to go up, but it's also a day that might smash through a lot of contrarian types because they get all excited and say, I knew it was turning around here, as OB takes off emotionally to the long side and turns around at the 89 or 200. Very, very common situation where it just pulls back just enough to get everybody who wants to go short in on the trades because they have maybe limit orders set, they wait on turnarounds, whatever the situation might be. But a pullback from opening bell does not tell me I want to trade long. I'm still looking short, like Rob says. As long as we're under that 89 and 200, I mean, we're in a perfect downtrend. It might not be the lightning bolt pattern you see on paper. We're an opening bell now, but it is a perfect downtrend as far as I'm concerned. I'm just looking for a retracement to turn around.
Yep.
So let's go look at our 30 seconds, see what's going on, get my strategy on here. 4COB. Yes. It's a big candle, huh?
Yep. Okay. So I'm in this out of the top. And hopefully we don't get too chopped up here. There's one chop.
175.
So we have 4081.75 on the bottom. 4081.75 on the bottom. And on the top, 4086.25. And I'll post that in chat.
I concur.
Cool. We're on the same page. Now we're in and out the bottom. And don't get, this does not look like it's going to be a fun one, folks. So far. Taking a couple choppy chops.
Order filled.
So we're kind of right in the middle of it right now. So has not gathered any momentum going either way.
At the top of Fridays is the exact middle of this opening range.
Wow. Yeah.
Or close to it anyway.
Yeah, close to it. Yeah. 4083.
Which is what's showing the resistance right here.
Yep. Come on, just keep going down here. So Tuesday, 6.
All right.
There we go. Headed towards the first target.
Trying.
Come on. Got our first target at the bottom.
It kissed mine.
Now let's see if we can keep this moving down. Keep moving down. Again, folks, don't get me. We are trying to develop a plan for when to gather momentum, and we got 4 at the bottom. Now we're getting out the top. I'm in out the top. Got stopped out in the trade down the bottom. Kissed my fill at the top at 4. And as you can see, we have not developed any sort of momentum in either direction, really.
Order submitted. Target
And there's
filled.
a fill at the top. First pay line hit.
Order
And
filled.
we're headed towards the second one. Second pay line hit. Now we can move our stop up to positive 1 point. So we got chopped up once, twice, 3 times. Right, 1, 2, 3. 3 times. So I got chopped up 3 times before this trade with 1 plus 4.
Yeah, that's why that short stop is so important.
Yeah. Yep. So we have a, let me put it on my screen. 8. 8. 6 plus 4 plus 8. So we have a -8, -8, plus 4, -6, plus 4, plus 8 so far. Now, what I can do now is put this, here we go, come on, plus 12, let's go. Let's go, plus 12. So now what I can actually do is put my opening range on my 5-minute chart and go over the 5. Trade on that. Hmm. 48.75. All right. Kind of lost a little steam here. This is another thing that we're trying to recognize is, when we're losing steam, when we need to manage our risk a little bit better.
Order filled.
We're right at the 89, so it's not real unexpected for this to be some resistance. We're also, if you have other opening ranges painted on your chart, we just came out of last Friday's opening range and we're hitting last Thursday's opening range.
Ah.
So the whole level to level idea.
Yeah.
But you know, we're starting to possibly break things on the upside. So this will be a good test to see if it does. If it doesn't break this, then we'll probably try the bottom side again.
Target filled. Order submitted. Order filled.
Come on, let's go. Let's move up here. So Travis is in his runner. I just missed my third fill at 12 points. So way to go, Travis.
Thank you.
So now might we see a turnaround here, Travis?
Sure. I don't
You're
see
on your
why
30
not.
second. Maybe go to your 5 minute if you want to draw your, so we can kind of start looking at price action and a turnaround possibly for a short. I mean, right now it's kind of tough to go short just because of such momentum coming out of opening bell. Boy. So if anybody has questions, don't hesitate to ask. Oops. All right, so what do we got here?
Stop filled. Stop.
Now, I don't really see I mean, I could see where somebody might say, well, what about going long here? You know, if we get a diamond, if we get a turnaround, we have made a higher high since opening bell. If we did do that, I wouldn't want to, you know, I wouldn't want my fill more than 40.96. If I was going to, you know, do some sort of take a trade on a turnaround, but I'd have to wait for this price to come back down, turnaround. And if you want to have a little clearer look, you could go to the 3 minute maybe and see that the price, you know, is turned around at the top. We are in a retracement now. But I'm not going to just jump on a long trade. When I look at all my charts, it says short, doesn't it?
No, yeah, I got to wait here. If we get a turnaround, I like the idea short. If we maybe push up, made a higher high, and then retrace back down to make it a turnaround, then I like the idea long, but it's a tough spot.
It's quite a launch on the 30 minute chart. It keeps going though.
Yeah. We are back above that daily key level. If we can hold it as support, then it's not unlikely. So this is where we really want to confirm a turnaround before getting in short. If you are thinking short, just my own recommendation there.
Yep. Here we go. Come on, push up another point, and I got my plus 12. And I don't know if I want to get into a runner in this one. This one, I think I might just go ahead and take my 16 on my last contract. Only because, boy, the trend is so strong down prior to this. I just don't know.
Or maybe you just squeeze your stop a little tighter and say worst you make is like 10 or 12 instead of like the 2 or 4 or something.
Correct.
I mean, it's up to you, but
yeah, that would work too.
Just a different idea to where you don't take out your opportunity for it to run away, but you also don't hurt your risk management too much if it comes right back through.
Sure.
But I mean, taking 16, awesome decision as well. I'm not against that at all. I think that's a great decision when we know we're in an overall downtrend.
It's the first time we're stretching the +2 Bollinger on the 5 since around 5 o'clock this morning. We were up around it, and then we pushed it down. So it's a good spot to see it turn around back short again. If it does, you know, I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying it's a good spot to see it do it if it does.
So now we're starting to see a turnaround. If this goes red, we could see a turnaround here. If we do, what stop are we trying to clear, right? That wick.
40.98 probably is where I want my stop.
Yep. Maybe just spread your chart out just a little bit. There we go. Yeah. So we've lost our momentum. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, it's definitely not up only right now.
Come on, just a little more. I'd love to get that +12 on this third contract.
Yeah, if we can start closing it above the middle of Thursday's opening range on the 32nd, I think we'll get that 12. Because then the next level is the top of that range at 99. But we're having trouble closing above that middle.
Yeah. So if anybody has questions, comments, don't hesitate to jump in and get on the mic or type in chat. A little quiet today out there in chat land.
Run off.
Push.
Nice, Bernie. Glad to have you with us.
Excellent, Bernie. Don't hesitate to jump on the mic if you want to say hello. Bernie's been pretty active in chat. And he uses TradingView, and he's been enjoying that. We've got the FNL Diamond, and you don't have to use Ninja Trader. There's nothing that says you have to use Ninja. Trading's about making decisions. We found that Ninja works well, and it's pretty user friendly.
I like TradingView for being able to trade on different platforms, you know, other than just the PC, because I use a Mac a lot.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, I wish I could use it full time, but I don't know. I like Ninja too much right now too.
Yeah, right. So we hit our +12. So I'm going to start squeezing the stop, I think, a little bit. Maybe pull it up to 40.90. A little under the wick at 40.90. So now we are +6 today because of those big stop outs early, our -8, -8. So we have a -8, a -8, a +4, a -6, a +4, a +8, a +12. So that's where those 1 point One pointers would be
They
good.
come in real. I know you hate for them to get hit, but when you look back and you go, oh yeah, I could stay in, I could take another swipe,
Yeah.
which I've got, I'm trying to abide by the 2x4, which I did this morning. And
Yeah.
so I am still in because it did come out the top and I had my last bullets.
Yeah.
2x4 set up there. So it's kept me positive in the trade. It was negative for a little while because of the
Yeah.
chop, but
Yep.
not to where it's impossible to overcome.
Sure. You know, and a lot of times in this opening range trade, your goal really is just to, minimize the chop and identify that when you're, hey, look, this is just a choppy morning, like yesterday, right? Choppy morning. And you can only do it so long before it just gets to be too much. And so that's kind of your goal, is to identify that and
Yes.
say, okay, it's not obvious.
Wait till something else is obvious. It's easier, and it'll help you identify that later in the day, at least.
You bet.
But I forget which chart it was you were looking at where we saw the big W and we're in the wing. We know we're in a very choppy area.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you look to our left on Travis's chart, you can see that we're at a area right now. This whole area right here looks a little choppy to me. We chopped here, came down through it, came back up, came back down, right? So it hasn't been super clean. So it wouldn't shock me at all to see us chop here and then possibly drop back down again. Wouldn't shock. So again, I'm not really looking for a long trade. I do want to see a nice confirmation of a turnaround before I look to go short, but the 200 would be our next target in terms of looking for that confirmation of a turnaround. So Travis, would you take a trade if we had a confirmation of a turnaround here going short? Would you look for a short trade before the 200?
Sure.
Okay.
I might try and fill before 40.92 though, which is a tough ask.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're pushing up off of as a daily level.
Yeah. And what Travis is talking about is this level right here. So Travis and I are both in our runners now. I believe Randy probably is too, huh, Randy?
I've got more runners than you want to know about.
Uh-oh. Right.
I had my big trade sitting at the top of that range.
Yeah.
And then it came back and stacked in without stopping that one out. So yeah, I've got them spread out right now. I'm playing with it.
Excellent. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I am in a runner, and I would be anyway, but I'd be careful about extending it too far. So that this has given me a way to practice. I've got my first one set where I would be happy, which is around 4102, which would be a stretch. But if you look at the 15 or the 30, not too much of one. And right now I've got the extreme one set at the other end of the Bollinger on the 15, which is at 4110. Because this looks like a 2-to-2 cross to me. We were at the 2 on the bottom. We've crossed the 10. We've crossed the 20. We're crossing the 50. We're coming up to the 89. So it's looking real good.
Yep. And I am going to start moving my stop up. I've got my stop up now to 4092.25. I want to clear the wick on the candle right next to us. Boy, I'm getting close to just really squeezing this. Up 20 points now on my final runner.
Yeah, you got to know when to stop. But yeah, you're coming up to a key level.
Yeah. Blew right through the 200 though, didn't we? Man.
Yeah, if you look at your higher time frame charts, we're crossing the middle of the Bollinger on all of them. So
Yeah.
when it's doing that, it's going to blow through levels on the 5.
Yeah. So, again, folks, we're working on this trade this is the exact reason why we're focusing, opening bell on this trade, on this opening range trade, is to get in on these type of momentum moves. This is something I've struggled with for a while is how do I get in on these momentum moves without, trying to manage risk and not just jumping on it, hoping and praying. At the top of the mark or something, or waiting for a pullback in a big green candle like this one that on Travis's screen here. We had that move up. What do I do? Do I take this one here and go? I guess I could, but man, seems a little risky. It's not how I like to trade. So this is a strategy that we've been working on that we're going to continue to work on and hopefully get to where we can bring it to everybody and have a blog. We have a blog that we're still working on, but we want to make sure that we have enough data, we've taken enough trades, we're comfortable enough with the risk management that we can explain it thoroughly and people can understand the risk involved when you take this trade. You're going to have a certain size account to do it, right? Probably not going to want to do it with a $500 account. But I don't think you need a huge account though either.
No, just set up an account like we used to for the ES. 3,000, maybe not quite 3,000, but
I don't think even think you need
3,000 would be comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then,
I don't even think you need that much. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with 3,000, you could trade up to 10 contracts and still trade like you were trading on the ES. So it gives you lots of flexibility.
So if I get knocked out of this trade, I'll make 10 points. I've got my fill at a 10-point gain, which is pretty close. Right now, I'm only 5 points away from my stop, but I want my last contract to be at least 10 points.
So same, once my trade's positive 20, I have a stop that it moves up to 10 behind it.
Yep.
Same thing at 30 and 40, and at 40 it'll start trailing.
And if I get knocked out, I get knocked out. That's fine. I still made 10 points on that final contract. Not bad. I can handle that. Again, folks, this is why we have a plan, right? If the price goes long, we have a plan. Price goes up, price goes down. All our charts said down, down, down. But what is the price doing? It's going up. So that's why we really, want to let the price tell us where it wants to go and not just sit here and say, okay, time to go short. Because really hasn't really been a spot to get in short. I mean, maybe the candle at 940. That might be the only one that you think may be the one right here.
That's so close to a doji, though, at opening bell. It's scary. It's not a strong double bar turnaround type look.
Agreed. That's why I was kind of like, maybe
I agree.
Short there.
Like, technically, do you have a double bar off the 89? Maybe. I agree with you, but it's like that wick is so big that it really shows it was trying to test up there. Yes, it got rejected, but yeah, there was still people during that red candle that wanted to go up.
Yeah, and if that wasn't opening bell, and then we had stair step up to that, not just had one big candlestick that went up, 20 points to there at opening bell, then I might be a little more inclined to say, okay, here's our turnaround at a key level, right? But no, I agree. All right, a few minutes left before we're going to close down the live stream on YouTube. So if anybody has any questions, Travis is doing very nicely in his trade. So far, I am doing well too. I took a couple stop outs early, three chops. So I took a -8, -8, -2, +4, +8, +12. And then on this one, if this one comes down and gets me, it'll be a +10. So total would be, so if that was a +10, yep, I think it's going to get us here. That's okay. 10 points on our final contract.
I'm out of all mine.
Same.
Yep, me too. No, it didn't get me yet.
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I didn't.
Well, I could have kept it down closer.
Yeah, there it got me.
Yeah, I did have it lower, but I'm going, yeah.
So -8, -8, +4, -6, +4, +8, +12, +10. So let's do the math on that.
You use your trade performance.
Yeah, I know. All right. A little easier there.
Yeah. Oh.
So 16 points total after the stop outs, which is fine. Hey, man. Yeah, I'll take that, right?
Mm-hmm. What, in 30 minutes, Rob?
Yeah, right. 16 points in 30 minutes.
How hard was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it is hard emotionally because
it is.
And you gotta practice because you'll have the days, well, like last week, you had a whole week of days where it was much better than that. But then you'll have a week of days when it's, I mean, this is a good one. Yesterday was quite a bit choppier.
Yeah.
And you just have to not overtrade on those days.
Yeah. So Jim went short at OB and at a 7.5. And so what happened is the price came up, got him in, went down. Remember, we saw that move down. That was that move that Jim got in.
Yeah, we hit pay lines on both sides.
Yep, hit a pay line on the bottom too. And so he filled for a 7.5. So what's great about that? Not only filled for 7, but he just took his gain and didn't try to make a lower low. He took his 7 points and said, you know what, I'm happy with this. Let's reset ourselves. And then what happened? The price zoomed up on him. So he took his 7 and said, okay. So great job, Jim. Great job, dude. Love it. He's not trying to get too greedy. We know what happens when pigs, right? We know what happens with pigs. Pigs get slaughtered, right? So sometimes not being too greedy that's always the key, I think. So any closing comments, Travis or Randy?
We got a turnaround off the 200 right now. I'm about to get in. I am in. So I'm trying to set a limit order, but to clear it, we have a diamond off the 200 and a deep retracement that I don't mind if I can clear my stop. It's a pretty big ask, but oh well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, that's a big, yeah.
I'm done until I see if it's going to go up or down from here.
Fair enough.
We could chop here. So I tend to get chopped up when I start seeing this happen. So I'll wait for more confirmation one way or the other.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yep. But no, I'm going to do a limit order, same kind of thing Travis is at 4,100 or so. 4,101. So, all right, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day. Of course, members hang out. We'll be here trading the rest of the day. But thanks all for coming out, and we'll see you guys all very